Hi, Allison. You have like a very, interesting story with all this going on, obviously, since you were like right in the heart of Italy when it broke out in Europe, the coronavirus. So
Yeah.
like, what was it like being there when it was like first breaking out and all the craziness?
So I studied in Sevilla, Spain,
Mm,
which it hit Spain later than it hit Italy, but I was actually in Venice or the day that they closed their borders. I flew out that morning at about 9 a.m. So
mm-hmm,
we knew that Corona was kind of spreading, um, but we still kind of thought like, oh, not that big a deal. We're still going to travel. And then we went to Italy, and it
mm-hmm,
wasn't really in Italy. And then when we got home, we were sitting at lunch and we turned on the news and we realized that it had absolutely blown up because what was
mm-hmm,
happening while we were there was Carnival.
mm-hmm.
And so that's a giant, like massive people coming for this huge festival. And so that's kind of how it spread all through Venice. So we were all pretty scared. There were four of us that went. And
Mm-hmm,
so we were like, what do we do? Like, do we go like tell someone? Do we get tested kind of thing?
mm-hmm.
And we kind of just decided to like see how things played out. We like hung out for a few days to see if we felt sick or anything. And none of us had any symptoms. And so we decided to just kind of go about
Mm-hmm.
our lives and our travel. And then within that week, my friends in Italy were getting sent home. And so we were like, holy crap, this is really serious.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it kind of hit us that like there's a chance that we're going to get sent home. Um, but for a while, it didn't really stop us from doing anything. It was just kind of always in the back of our heads, and it was always a topic of conversation.
Yeah, wow, that is crazy. So like obviously your like trip didn't go as planned. I don't know, just like elaborate basically on your trip and stuff.
So I got there January 3rd,
Mm-hmm.
and I went with my family a week early. And then a week later, I was kind of supposed to meet my program, but then I had another little bump in the road and I broke my ankle.
Yeah.
And so that was a little tough. I ended up getting surgery in Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent 2 weeks recovering before I actually got to go meet everyone that I lived with and everyone in my program and before I
Mm-hmm.
was able to start classes.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got there, it was absolutely amazing. Everyone was nice and welcoming, and I lived in a house with 30 girls, and we had a set of host parents who only spoke Spanish, which is perfect because I really wanted to go over there and practice my Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And they were great. They cooked us meals every day. They did our laundry. They were just absolutely the sweetest things. And I made some lifelong friends there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to stay until May 9th. That's when our classes finish. And I actually had an extra week after that booked out there just so I could travel some more. Um, but obviously, I'm home now. I came home March 13th.
Mm-hmm.
So I only got to travel to 3 different countries, which only sounds a little bit not correct because obviously I'm thankful that I got to travel to the 3 countries. But I mean, I went over there planning to travel to 10 different countries within my time. I mean, we had 2 spring breaks in April, which
Mm-hmm.
were 2 whole complete weeks off from classes,
Mm-hmm.
where I was planning on going to Germany and Croatia, the south of Italy, Greece, and possibly Austria. Luckily, I didn't have anything booked. Some people did, and some people lost some money on their trips, but now people are getting their money back, obviously, because most airlines are canceling all flights. But
Yeah.
so it didn't affect me too much in that area, but it definitely was a bummer. I went to Italy, obviously Venice, and then I went to Portugal and I went to Morocco, which was really, really cool.
So it definitely kind of disappointed you that, all this happened like right when you were there, right?
Yeah. I mean, it was really scary.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you go abroad based on what you've heard from everybody else and all of your other friends who studied abroad, and you're prepared for these like amazing 4 months
Mm-hmm.
of freedom and minimal classes and everything that's just full of traveling. You're thinking basically every weekend I'm going to be in a new country, and that's super exciting.
Mm-hmm.
You have you have your mind kind of made up about what it's going to be like, and obviously when something this drastic happens, I mean, that affects it, and it's pretty sad and disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also think about how thankful I am that I got the opportunity to go over there, and I lived in Sevilla for 2 months, and I met the people that I did and saw what I did and learned what I did. So it's bittersweet, but of course I'm a little bit upset.
Yeah, of course. How was traveling home with, because obviously by the time you traveled home, it's like it was like a really big thing. Was there any complications getting home? Did you have to do any tests or anything?
So surprisingly, no. I came home Friday, the
Mhm,
13th. So Friday at midnight is when borders effectively were closed.
mhm,
I got in at about 8 p.m.
mhm,
And so I had absolutely no problems going through customs. I honestly made it through in 15 minutes. They asked me what countries I'd traveled in, and I said
mhm.
Spain and Italy, Portugal, and Morocco. And they just kind of gave me like a sad look, and they were like, "Oh, were you studying abroad?" And I was like, "Yes." And they just apologized and then said, "Okay, have a nice day."
Mhm.
And I was pretty surprised. I thought that there was going to be at least some other screening because
Yeah.
to Italy, even before the outbreak in Venice. I mean, the second we got to the airport in Venice, they took our temperature with one of the infrared guns. So they just held it up to our forehead right about here and took our temperature before we even entered the country.
Mhm.
And yeah, even when I was in international airports, I mean, everyone had a mask on and gloves on, and everyone was careful. In
Yep.
Spain, I had a layover in Amsterdam, and honestly, things were much more relaxed there. I did not see nearly as many masks, gloves. When I sat on the plane, everyone around me is hand sanitizing, wiping down seats. Like,
Yeah.
it was a very different experience. Yeah,
Wow. Yeah, but that's like a good experience to have in your life. Like that's a story you can tell. Like so,
absolutely.
so after all this happened, are you like planning on studying abroad ever again, or like because it was kind of a letdown, or do you think you got like enough experience that you needed?
So, I don't think there's ever such thing as
Too much.
enough experience. I
Yeah.
mean, still tons and tons of other countries that I could go to, other cities, places.
Hmm.
There's way more to learn out there. Unfortunately, I don't have the time within my undergrad
Hmm.
degree to study abroad again in this fashion. But sometime in my life, I'm definitely planning on at least taking a month or two and going back to Sevilla because I did not finish what I started there. And then I plan to hopefully at some point take a few more months or possibly another year just to travel around Europe and kind of get to see a bunch of other places. Because even the places that I did go to, there's still so much more to see. I would love to go back.
Hmm. Cool. So now you're home, and you're quarantining, right? I assume. And so
Mhm.
how is that? And like, what do you think about everything that's going on here in the future? The next couple of months. And, since we're at the age where, we go out and hang out with people, and it's kind of seeming like, we're not going to be able to do that soon. Like, how do you feel
Yeah,
about that?
it's definitely scary.
Definitely. Yeah.
Um, we're currently kind of living in history, which is kind of cool.
Hmm.
Definitely the stories that we tell our grandkids. But
Definitely.
also, there's a lot going on in the world, and this doesn't just affect people with quarantining, it affects everything. I mean, the stock market is struggling, businesses are struggling, restaurants are closing. Um, it was hard. I think the first 2 or 3 days that I was home was harder. I'm on day 5 out of 14 now.
Hmm.
And I spent a lot of my time kind of just hanging out. I took a few days to recover from the time change and everything and just relax. And now I've been cleaning, unpacking. I've started looking at my online classes that I'll start at the end of this week.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, talking to family, FaceTiming with my friends.
Hmm.
But it's hard not being able to see my friends that I know are right down the street that I haven't seen in a few months.
Yeah.
And I think that until the disease is gone, or until the virus is gone, I think that quarantining will become more popular, and I think that more people will be um, told to quarantine just so we can completely eradicate it, which, despite the fact that it's not the most fun thing to do, it is probably the safest way to go.
Yeah.
Um,
Necessary.
But I mean, yeah, yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, and it didn't feel like St. Patrick's Day. I mean,
I didn't see like one thing about it, like literally.
nothing. Nobody's going out. I turned 21 when I was over in Europe, and I came back to the States legal, and I can't even go out and have my first legal drink because bars are closing and I'm quarantined anyway.
I know, yeah, that stinks. Wow.
Yeah.
So I think I've been told that, are you trying to start your own business?
Yes.
Does the virus, has it affected that at all, or are you like putting it off, or how's that going?
I'm kind of putting it off at the moment. I mean, now is not the best time, definitely, to start it back up. I have created it. I have the name for it. It's Demirjian Enterprises. It's a, I'd say, registered LLC.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, I'm not using the company for anything. I feel like that's something that I can start thinking about now that I have the time and I can organize it, but I won't actually put things into effect until after the world has kind of calmed down.
Do you have any just like general thoughts about what's going on, or yeah?
General thoughts. Well, just for everyone to stay safe. I mean, as much as it sucks, yes, distance yourself, you'll live. At the end of the day, it's not a crazy amount of time out of your life that you're not able to go out to parties or go out to bars or hang out with giant groups of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And FaceTime and Zoom and Skype make things like this so much easier.
Oh yeah.
I can imagine this happening 100 years ago.
Yeah, we're so lucky that we live in an age where we can see all our friends online and talk to them online. So yeah, I can't even imagine if we didn't have that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, there's ways around it. I am quarantined, but I had my friend Nick come over and he came outside and we sat out on my back deck and we did a workout 6 feet apart. And then he didn't even step in my house afterwards. He just left.
That's good.
It's still safe, social distancing, but I'm still able to do what I want to do, see my friends. So honestly, just take it as a time to kind of work on yourself, do everything that you have on your to-do list, everything you need to do, want to do.
I know you're not in like a situation, but it's crazy to think about that some people, might not have jobs and still be, like required to pay bills and stuff. And it might just be difficult for a lot of people.
I know there was just something passed where rent or people cannot be foreclosed on within the next month, I think, because not everyone can pay their rent, which is great.
Great.
It also causes some more issues. It's just all a huge domino effect, but it's definitely it's a tough time in the world. 100%.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for, sitting down and telling me about your experience abroad with this happening and just your thoughts, as a college student while this is going on. Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm glad I could help. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks. Nice seeing you, Allison.
Nice seeing you too. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.